Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another rendition of the All We Do Is Talk podcast. Here to give our picks for the Week 8 slate. I'm here with Moody and Isaiah. How we doing?
Happy Halloween, man. Excited for the holiday weekend.
Ooh, these games look scary. That's the only scary thing out here.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Let's
get started.
So let's start with Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo's minus 14.5, over under 48.5.
So this is the classic that I love, the matchup between the rivalry we've got between Josh Allen and whatever he likes doing to the Miami Dolphins. They're coming off 2 straight blowouts.
Yeah.
Like handily,
no contest, not even competitive.
Maybe 7-0 combined score of the 2 games they've last played.
Remember in the season finale last year, the Dolphins were scoring early. Then Buffalo. So if we go the last 6 quarters, it's probably 70-0, which is even worse to be honest with you.
We've seen Tua in some of the games, and we see him. He'll be back again. He's got the trade rumors. They're probably looking to toss him out the back door.
He doesn't not feel wanted.
Yeah, double negative. No, sounds like a guy that wants to be that.
That's the Alabama education right there.
But yeah, I can't. I'm just gonna pick it because it's so easy. I can't see. I don't see Buffalo not blowing out Miami. It was tough. I think Miami might fight harder than they have the last few games, but I still think Buffalo's one of the top teams in Miami. They're 1-5, and yeah. So I just don't see how Miami keeps this close, but I think that they'll fight harder in the beginning, and then Buffalo pulls away in the end. So I'll take Buffalo 35, Miami 14, which pushes the over. So I'll take Buffalo, the points, and the over.
Man, I had so many great Deshaun Watson jokes in the last one that it's not in the moment to pull those back out. Yeah, I expect Buffalo to go ahead and dominate Miami once again. They're significantly better. They're not a good matchup for Tua and his offense. And yeah, I don't think Miami's just good enough to be competitive for the entire 60 minutes. Like Isaiah said, maybe they can hang in it early just because they're familiar with Buffalo and Tua might actually finish this game for the first time. But I really don't expect Buffalo to do anything less than to handle their business. So I'll take Buffalo to cover, 14.5?
Yeah.
And
big line.
Yeah, and I'll take the over as well. I think Buffalo will do most of the heavy lifting, and Miami can't get shut out for another 4 quarters, can they?
They'll lose their jobs if they do.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with both of you. I think Buffalo and the over is the play. If it's any indication of what they did last time to them, 14 will be taken care of in the first half. But yeah, Buffalo and the over I think is pretty easy. So let's move on to my pitiful Carolina Panthers going to the ATL. The Falcons are -3, over under 46.5.
The Falcons continue their run of bad teams to turn their season around. I think Matt Ryan has shown that while he's not the MVP that he was 5 years ago, that he is still good enough to beat teams with quarterbacks that are inferior to him. And that's what I expect for him to go do on Sunday. The Panthers are really, really struggling. It's hard to pick them to win games right now. Don't think Christian McCaffrey's still on IR, so he's not coming back to save them either. So, I'll take the Falcons to cover the 3 points at home. I think they're the better football team. They have the better quarterback. They should be able to take care of business unless they Atlanta it up. And I'll take the over. I expect both teams to be able to score points in this one.
Yeah, that's where my quandary came in because I will also take Atlanta to cover because I'll take Matt Ryan. And after seeing the Carolina offense last week, I just don't know what it's going to be this week.
Yeah.
But Atlanta's defense is so bad. They made Tua look a little bit real good last week. So I'll take Atlanta 24, Carolina 17, which will be the under, which I feel safe with the under because I just don't see either of these teams putting on a gun show. So that's what I'll go with.
I'm with you both on Atlanta. I just can't bet.
Making you the first person that had to pick against their team this year. But hey, that's good. There's credibility right in that.
Yeah. We're a show of integrity here. I think I'll take the over as well because I think each offense has enough weapons to put up points against each defense. For different reasons, Atlanta's got the quarterback that can do it, and Carolina's got the weapons that can do it. I don't believe in Sam anymore. I don't think I really ever did. I was just riding him while he was hot, but Yeah, I'll take Atlanta in the over.
Okay, so you guys are both going with the over.
Yep.
Okay. So Atlanta don't let us down. Next.
All right, moving on to another ugly game where the Philadelphia Eagles travel to the cover gods, the Detroit Lions. The Lions are plus 3.5, over under 48.
They're gonna get a win. I think this got to be the week to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if we're talking about the cover God thing has been awesome for them to fight tooth and nail at every game. But at some point, you got to go out there and actually score more points than the other team. Philly looks pretty pitiful right now. They've lost 5 out of 6 since they mollywopped Atlanta in week 1. They don't really have any confidence in their quarterback or their offense right now. Their defense is just okay. I think Detroit's been chomping at the bit for a win. They seem due with the way how hard they've been fighting. So I'm going to give them the opportunity to go get the W here at home against a bad Eagles team. I'll take Detroit to cover at home. I think they're going to be able to put on a game plan. I think they're better coached. I think they're trying harder effort-wise. And I just think the game's going to matter more to them because they don't have a win yet this season. I'm going to take the more desperate bad team. So, yeah, I'll take Detroit to cover, and I'll take the under. I think this is going to be some ugly football.
Well, I'll go ahead and lock it in.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this week will be the week that Detroit wins their first game of the season. But at worst, they're going to definitely cover. And so I'll take Detroit 28, Eagles 24. So that's the over. Both of these teams have pretty bad defenses, dealing with lots of injuries. You're going to see lots of screen passes and drop down and dump offs, check downs to crossing routes. So, yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the cover gods as well. I do think they have a chance to win this game. I'm going under. I can't believe in any of these defenses.
You asked me Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts to score points. I'm not going to do that.
And it's hard to give either of these teams the favorite. I would have gone with the plus points, but Detroit get it done this week. So moving on, we'll go to probably the best game on the slate. Tennessee at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is 2.5-point favorites, over under 51.
I think it says a lot about this weekend that this is the best game on the slate.
It's control of the AFC South football. They got 2 good teams at least.
Yeah, I guess that's what we'll see. I don't expect this game to be very fun in terms of watching. I expect a lot of running the football, play action, crossing routes, and the occasional shot play. I think that's what we'll see for 4 quarters, and whoever can beat the other team up in the trenches enough will come out with the victory. With that being said, I'm surprised that Tennessee's the underdog at home. I think like a home underdog, even with
Indianapolis. It's at Indianapolis.
Oh, they're at Indianapolis. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Either way, I still think Tennessee's the better football team. I trust Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry more in a big game spot to go get the victory. So I'll take Tennessee to cover on the road plus 2.5. I think they'll come out with the victory and completely take control of that AFC South, and I'll take the under.
Yeah, this is weird. This is going to be a good game. I just don't know how it's going to go. I mean, I expect a heavy dosage of Derrick Henry, heavy dosage of Jonathan Taylor, lots of play action shot plays. And I don't think that Tennessee's defense is really that good. And I don't think the Colts have they don't have a bad run defense. So I think they'll get more stops. And so I'll take the home favorite. I'll take the Colts 31, Tennessee 28, hit the over because Tennessee's going to always be in shootouts. And I think it's going to be the best game of the day. So enjoy.
So I am going to go with my lock of the week here with Tennessee. I don't think they should be dogs to anyone right now. I mean, I think they're 14th. Yeah, they're 14th in run defense and yards per game. And I think Derrick Henry will have another great game. And, I'll take the over as well. I just think Derrick Henry's going to have a big day. And with how hot Tennessee is right now, I don't know how you can give them points.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, we'll go to a very ugly game. It's going to be a lopsided game. Rams take a visit to Houston. Houston is plus 14.5, over under 48.
what bad luck that Houston got the NFC West this year. Like they just have
make things worse.
Like they have to set up.
Team's falling apart, and you get injury the NFC West.
They gotta spend a quarter of their season just getting mollywopped by Super Bowl contenders every other week. That's got to be pretty frustrating.
They didn't even get the hurt Seattle team.
That's got to be pretty frustrating for the Houston Texans. But they continue to fight hard and try, and their all-pro quarterback won't play any snaps for them. So we know the situation for Houston. It's really down bad. The Rams failed to cover last week. I think that was. I mean, even though none of us called it that way, Detroit was. That was their Super Bowl. They pulled out all the stops. They did everything they could.
Fuck them.
They did everything they could to stay competitive in that game. I don't expect Houston to have the same motivation to do the same, nor do they have the same coaching and fight to do so. So I think the Rams will cover here pretty easily. And they'll just separate as the game goes on because they're super duper talented. Houston is not. And Houston is still starting Davis Mills, who I expect Aaron Donald to introduce to the ground plenty of times. So I'll take the Rams to cover, and I'll take the over. The Rams might cover the over by themselves.
Luckily, this week there's only 2 games like this week where it's just, wow, this is gonna probably be a mismatch, and we are expecting that. So yeah, nothing more. Less. You said it best. Davis Mills is being thrown to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey will whoop them up like they whooped up on Jared Goff last week. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp will do the job on the other side. Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and knock out a bold prediction. This will be the game where Cooper Kupp gets over 250.
He's going for 2020, bro. That's what he's going to do.
That's my bold prediction for this week. This is a monster Cooper Kupp game for sure. So, yeah, I'll take the Rams going away 35-14. They'll cover the over because the Rams will do the heavy lifting like Buffalo. Moving them on to B71.
Yeah, I'm with y'all on the Rams. In my opinion, Houston's the worst team in the league. I'll take the under because I don't think the Texans are going to score enough to get this. But yeah, it's gonna be a bad game over as soon as it starts. Moving on, we'll go to the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets. The Jets are catching 10.5, over under 42.5.
I think it's disrespectful for the Bengals for the Jets to even get that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I forgot about this game.
This is my lock of the week. Joey B and Jamar Chase are they're gonna roast the New York Jets this week. They got no shot. So yeah, Cincinnati's gonna go up and down the field. I really don't expect this game to be competitive at any point. They have a good solid defense that's gonna try hard because
Mike White's playing.
Mike White's playing, and like the Bengals are still the Bengals are gonna be a try hard team. They aren't good enough or here enough to be taking slack off against bad football teams like this. I don't expect it to happen this week, so I'll take Cincinnati to manhandle the New York Jets in a lock, and I'll take the under.
So yeah, that's where I drew my eye thinking about this game because I think Cincinnati is going to be in a trap game here for a little. When I say trap game, I mean the Jets might fight them hard for a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, but I'm still going to take Cincinnati to pull away and cover 35-20. Maybe the Jets come out on fire early and put some points on the board that without Cincinnati expecting it, but they'll still pull away because Cincinnati's better. Yeah.
Moody, what did you take, the over or the under?
I took the under.
The under? Okay. I'm just filling it up. I'm going to take Cincinnati as well. I mean, with a backup quarterback, I don't know how it's only 10.5. I'm pondering the over-under just because I'm questioning will the Jets even score or show competent offense. Yeah, I'll take the over. Screw it. I'll take the over.
When I take the over, though, I'm kind of like hedging that Cincinnati, if it gets really bad, they'll get
like they did the Baltimore, just run up the scoreboard. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree in like the mentality of Cincinnati. They're not good enough to be like, oh, it's just the Jets. They're still hungry to prove themselves. Moving on, we'll go to the AFC North, where Pittsburgh is taking a trip to the dog pound, and Cleveland is favored 3.5, over under 42.5.
Baker and Nick Chubb both expected to return on Sunday to put on the fight. I think last time these two teams played, Cleveland was smacking Pittsburgh up and down the field without half of their coaching staff. Pittsburgh that was rock bottom for Pittsburgh, basically probably in their franchise history for what Cleveland was doing.
Apparently, they were terrible in the 60s before everyone started winning something.
Who cares about no one listening to this knew anything about the 60s. But I think Pittsburgh come off the bye week. I think they're playing pretty decent football right now. I think they're going to be fresh. Tough divisional opponent matchup between two teams that really don't like each other. It's really these games are usually pretty competitive, no matter how bad Cleveland has been or wherever place Pittsburgh happens to be in the moment. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover here. I think Baker and that shoulder problem is going to continue to ail him, even though they medically cleared him. That's still a lot of pain that he's going to have to deal with. And Pittsburgh's defense is good enough to put the pressure on him and slow down the run game enough to force him to have to make plays in the passing game. And Cleveland's defense has been real inconsistent up and down. Now, I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to be doing a whole lot, but you think after 2 weeks his arm would be feeling decent enough for them to make some plays, and I think that'll do enough to keep Pittsburgh in it, if not win the game outright. So I'll take Pittsburgh to cover the spread, and I'll take the under.
I totally agree. I think Pittsburgh, even if Baker Mayfield doesn't finish the game, I think Case Keenum won't be much of a difference if he has to come in and spell him. But I think Pittsburgh's defense will give them fits all day. I think Cleveland will use their immense amount of talent to overcome Pittsburgh, and I'll take Pittsburgh to cover because I'm going to take Cleveland to win 21-20 in a pretty close game. That's probably going to get ugly. That's the under. I mean, it's AFC North football.
I guess I'm going to be the only one taking Cleveland because, to your point of the quarterbacks, there's not much of a difference between Baker and Case Keenum. But I just think this is a game that they're going to be up for, division game that they need to win if they're going to keep pace with Cincinnati and Baltimore. So, give me Cleveland, and I'll also take the under. But, Big Ben's hurt, as always, and you don't know what that can do for you.
All right, next game, the ugliest game of the day.
Yeah, so San Francisco takes a trip to Chicago. Chicago's catching 3.5, over under 39.5.
I really didn't know what to do with this when I looked at it. I just stared at it, and I saw two teams that looked exactly the same. It's just except the Niners aren't starting their rookie quarterback, but overall we just see good run offenses, awful pass offenses, mediocre to good defenses depending on what day of the week it is. This is easily going to be the least fun game to watch aesthetically on the Sunday slate, just because Jimmy Garoppolo versus Justin Fields sounds like bad offense for a full hour, and I feel sorry for whoever has to be forced to go watch that. But I think Chicago at home.
It's our local game.
There's no watch. I'd rather watch the NFC East than that.
Watch this at 4:00 today.
Well, I feel sorry for us for being forced to watch that ugly football. So us specifically, but I think Chicago can find a way to win here just because they're at home, and I'm going to give them the home bump to be able to stay close in the game. I think San Francisco is better, but they seem to be on a free fall right now with the way they don't believe in their quarterback, I don't think, and they haven't moved the offense to Trey Lance yet. Their defense isn't very good, and I think the Bears' defense can slow them down enough to stay in the game throughout. So, I'll take the Bears to cover, and even the 39.5 point over under, I still couldn't take the over in this. I don't think either team can tie the teams.
Man, you've been betting Chicago a lot. Are you not tired of losing Chicago?
I've only had one bad one, but that was the Tampa Bay one. Most of my Chicago ones have been decent, especially the Cincinnati one.
This is going to be terrible. I'm just going to take San Francisco 17, Chicago 7, basically because I believe Kyle Shanahan is 10 points better of a head coach and runs 10 points better of an operation. Like you said, it's the same two teams. And I think Shanahan is just doing a better job of being underwhelming over Matt Nagy. So I'll take San Francisco 17, Chicago 7 under. And that's crazy to see with a line of 39.5.
I am going to take San Francisco as well. I'm expecting more explosive plays out of San Francisco, maybe a Deebo Samuel.
No Khalil Mack.
No Khalil
Mack. I'll take San Francisco and the under.
Not much more needed to see said about this monstrosity. This is a Halloween game.
Another ugly one in the 4:00 slate. We got Jacksonville heading to Seattle. Seattle's -3.5, over under 44.5.
All right, so you're gonna have to talk me into picking Jacksonville. Go ahead, dude. All you guys have been telling me all week long.
I said you already know. You already know I'm going with Duval County and the Jacksonville Jaguars to go to Seattle, and Trevor Lawrence could go get his signature W at the 12th man. We know Seattle's defense isn't very good. I think that's the biggest key here. I expect Trevor Lawrence to be comfortable. I expect Jacksonville to be able to run the ball well. I think Trevor Lawrence will be able to make plays with his legs. I think they'll be able to attack Seattle's pretty depleted and untalented secondary down the field throughout the game. And then on the other end, I don't trust Geno Smith. I mean, Geno Smith has shown competence in filling in for Russell Wilson, but I think that is about as good a graces as you can give him. He's just been competent. He's unfortunately played some good football teams, so that's going to be harder for him to go out with those wins against San Francisco and Pittsburgh. This is the worst team he'll play while being in for Russell Wilson, but I don't think it matters. I think Jacksonville coming off the bye, 2 weeks to prepare for Geno Smith, they should be able to come out with a W here. So I'll take Jacksonville to go on the road, beat Seattle, in Seattle, get a signature win for Trevor Lawrence as they continue to turn their season around. Yeah. And I'll take the under.
I just can't. I just can't. Pete Carroll's a way better coach than Urban Meyer. He was the original college coach turned NFL success that we've seen, the latest that we've seen in our life. Chip Kelly had a little bit of success for a little bit, but I just can't. I think Seattle will use that true clock, run, pass, and they'll just handle Jacksonville because Jacksonville won't be ready for this situation yet. They just won't. I'll take Seattle 21, Jacksonville 9. I think it gets ugly late, but for this game screams it'll be 7-9, 14-9 for the most part, and it'll just be a punt fest until Seattle puts them away. And I think an X factor will be Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs will make enough plays in the back end to fool Trevor Lawrence and protect Seattle's defense. So I'll take Seattle to cover, and I'll take the under. But I would fade this if I could. I'd fade a lot of these games.
So I'm going under as well, but the better quarterback in this game resides on Jacksonville's side. So I am taking Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence he needs a W. He needs a W, longest and only losing streak of his career.
No, they won. They just won.
He's not that.
They just won. They beat the Dolphins 41 on this bye.
That's right. Either
back
way.
in London.
So he needs to get back on.
He needs a win streak.
Way. Yeah, we need a win streak for Trevor Lawrence, and I can't take. This is another game where I can't take either one of these teams like down points, being minus points. So I will take Jacksonville and the under. Moving on.
Game ahead.
Moving on, we'll go to New England, going to the West Coast to face the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are -4, over under 49.5.
Now, last year, Bill Belichick walked into Justin Herbert's house.
No, it was in New England. It was in New
England. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the game was played. New England gave LAC and Justin Herbert the biggest ass beat he's ever received in his NFL career. 45-0. They scored on defense a couple times, scored on special teams a couple times, ran all over the Chargers. Now this is a different Chargers team, and it's definitely a different New England team with Cam Newton instead of Mac Jones, which accentuates the run game, which the Chargers still their weakness.
Now the Chargers were home.
The Chargers were, they walked into LA and just stomped them dudes, bro. Like they had no shot, and I expect a different result this time. Justin Herbert, even in the short period of time since that game, has taken massive strides as a quarterback. He's gotten a lot more experience. He's seen this team before, and he is coming off a bye week. So Brandon Staley and that staff has had 2 weeks to get them prepped for what you can expect to be a very complicated and insane game plan from the New England Patriots. But I think the other end is where the Chargers will be fine. I expect their defense to do a really good job against Mac Jones in that offense. I don't think the Patriots offense, as explosive as it's looked the last couple of weeks, will be able to make the same plays against the Chargers defense that likes to play a lot of too high. And I don't think the run game will be enough to get them to win. So I'll take LAC to cover the 4. Tentatively, because Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick, and I'll take the under.
I'm literally only going to pick the Chargers because of Justin Herbert, because I can see a scenario where New England uses we know the Chargers struggle to stop the run, and New England is a really good run team, but I just don't think the quarterback matchup is close enough for that to work. And as long as the Chargers don't fall too deep in a hole, I will take them to win 31-21. But Bill Belichick could easily prove me wrong because that's what he do.
So you're taking.
So that's also the over. The over.
Moody, you took the under.
Under.
Okay, just double checking, making sure I'm crossing all my T's. I will take the Chargers as well. I just think Justin Herbert will be a little bit too much for that defense. And, with Asante Samuel and Derwin James there, I think their defense can shut down Mac Jones enough to cover the 4. And I will take the under as well. Under. Moving on, we'll go to Mile High, where Denver is hosting the Washington football team. Denver is -3.5, over under 44.5.
Denver's the favorite here, but I don't think they're getting out of here at all. Actually, I like Washington football team a lot to go in here and win. Denver's on a spiral. Vic Fangio's defense is not playing well, while the Washington football team offense has been decent. And this seems like a get-right game for their defense. The pass rush should be able to cause problems for Teddy Bridgewater, who, after a hot first 3 games, has really, really fallen back down to earth. Jerry Jeudy's going to be back, so Denver's receiving core will be a little bit better. But Denver really relies on being able to run the ball to set up their play ability to stretch the field, and I don't think they'll be able to run the ball here because I don't think Washington football team will have a lot of respect for Teddy Bridgewater. I think what's his name? Ron Rivera knows Teddy Bridgewater and what he can do, and I think Washington football team will be able to go get a road win against a bad, even though they're 3-4, a bad AFC team in the Denver Broncos. And I'll take Washington football team to cover, and I'll take the over as well.
Rivera wasn't there when Teddy Bridgewater was there because he was there last year with Rule. But he's
that was his only year there.
Yeah,
he was. So where was he? Where was Teddy Bridgewater there before that?
Saints.
Oh yeah, he was with the Saints. Yeah.
And before that, the Jets. Before that, Minnesota. But yeah, I'll take Washington football team because the Denver's look so bad and the injuries are mounting. And I just think this is a game where Scary Terry could single-handedly help Washington win because I'll take Washington 24, Denver 10. And that might be even a little bit too much scoring for Washington. This over-under being 44.5 is pretty high. I think the under is for sure a thing. And I just think we'll see sloppy football, sloppy quarterback play, some good and some exciting defensive plays. Probably a pick 6 or 2.
Yeah, I'm with y'all on the Washington football team. I mean, I see Denver in the same light as Carolina right now. I can't take them minus any points. So I'll take Washington football team. I'll take the over. I mean, Denver's been scoring. They've shown they can score points, and I think the football team can score well enough to hit this 44.5. So I'll go Washington football team and over. Moving on to an NFC South matchup where Tampa Bay is taking a trip to New Orleans. New Orleans is +4.5, over under 49.5.
Now, in the regular season last year, New Orleans was a house of horrors for the Bucs. They got stomped out both times that New Orleans saw them. And New Orleans defense is actually pretty whole from that unit that was playing last year. They got most of the Oyamata from the suspended list is back. Marcus Davenport, Lattimore, they're all pretty healthy on the defensive side. So you expect New Orleans defense to be really, really good. I don't think that matters. It's Jameis Winston's revenge game, but it's really Jameis Winston going to see why he isn't in Tampa Bay anymore. And that's because the GOAT Tom Brady is there. I expect Tom Brady to show up and show out against a New Orleans team that isn't as good as their record indicates, I think. I think they've just managed to beat some bad teams. And whatever they did to the Packers in week 1, I expect I don't think Jameis Winston – I think Jameis Winston will be a little too amped up in the game, and that will force a couple of turnovers that Tampa Bay will be able to take advantage of. And I expect a solid win for the Bucs on the road against a division opponent that they're just better than at this point. So I'll take the Bucs to cover, and I will take the under.
I actually disagree. I think this is a bad matchup for Tampa Bay, being that it's going to be the New Orleans Saints home game. And I think with a healthy Marshawn Lattimore, healthy Cam Jordan bag, a lot of the Saints guys are healthy, and a lot of the Tampa Bay Bucs defenders are hurt in the back end. So I think that will be the problem. And we'll see Mark Ingram back. I think New Orleans will be able to run the ball really effectively, surprisingly. Now, I'm not saying they might get 100 yards, but definitely I can see him getting over 70 yards. Huh?
Ingram with the Texans?
No, they traded
him.
Like last night. And he's going to be good to play because he knows the system. So I'm going to take New Orleans to win a shootout, 35-31. I think Sean Payne will have lots of tricks, and I think this game won't matter because in the end, New Orleans might beat them, but they won't be, at the end of the day, a better team than Tampa Bay. But luckily, this is the regular season. So that's also the over, 35-31 New Orleans.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I mean, I think it's just the overall better football team, even with their defensive injuries. I think Tom can overcome that. I'm with you with the over, Isaiah. I mean, I think there's going to be points to be had here with New Orleans being fired up. Is this their first home game?
No, they've had a few now.
Yeah.
But I think both teams will be able to score points, but I'll take Tampa Bay in the over. So moving on to the Sunday night football game where Dallas is taking a trip up north to Minnesota. Minnesota's -2.5, over under 52.5.
Well, the elephant in the room, obviously, is that 12 hours ago, the Dallas was a road favorite at 2.5, and a massive swing due to some pretty big news has gotten Minnesota the new favorites. And I'm gonna pick the game based off of what I expect, and that Dak Prescott will not play in this football game. And if he doesn't, I really think that's all that matters here. Cooper Rush isn't gonna go out here and win a Sunday night game at Minnesota. I don't think the Cowboys would be able to score enough points against the best pressure team in the NFL. They lead the league in sacks, lead the league in pressure rate, and I think that would do enough. Plus, the Cowboys defense, while improved, is gonna have a harder time slowing down Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Adam Thielen and those guys when the Vikings won't have any real pressure to score consistently on the offensive end. So I'll take the Vikings to cover. I think the over-under is pretty high because of the Dak Prescott thing, but I expect the Cowboys offense to struggle with Cooper Rush at the QB position. So I'll take Minnesota to cover and the under.
I was picking Minnesota with or without Dak Prescott this week because I think the Cowboys were due for a stumbling block, which is why I think they're going to bench Dak and keep him out this week anyway. So I mean, if Dak's not playing, Dallas has no chance. If Dak plays, he'll be hampered, and I still think that Minnesota will pull it out. I think Minnesota will get a nice vintage win. They find a way to win these random games every year against the Packers or Dallas or New Orleans when people don't see him coming. Primetime Kirk Cousins was brought to life playing Dallas. This time Dallas is headed that way. And last year they did lose the matchup to Dallas, so they've got a nice back-and-forth rivalry going. So even with or without Dak, I'm going to take Minnesota 28, Dallas 24. Of course, if Dak's not playing, I will drop that score for Dallas, and it'll be probably an easy win for Minnesota. So the under anyway. It's a high over-under.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. If Dak Prescott doesn't play, I don't think they have any chance. With Cooper Rush, I mean, I would debate starting Will Greer over Cooper Rush.
Neither are great options.
It wouldn't matter either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Minnesota, 52.5 is too much for there being a backup quarterback. And, yeah, so Minnesota in the under.
A nice, scary primetime game for your Halloween weekend to close.
Yeah.
All right, lastly.
So first game in November, we got the New York Giants taking a trip to Kansas City. Kansas City's -9.5, over under 52.5.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. The Chiefs' season is on the line in this game on Monday night.
I told you I disagreed last week.
I truly believe if Kansas City does not walk in here, and they can't just win the game. They have to show some real confidence, like they're ready to go be a playoff team again. If they allow the Giants to be able to just move the ball up and down the field with one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
It really is, and it's a good yard-based offense.
Yeah, 30th in points, bottom half in red zone offense.
It's the red zone offense, clearly, but they move the ball.
It's not a good offense. It's at best on its best day, it's mediocre. The Kansas City Chiefs on deep. This should be their defense's best chance to show some ability to slow somebody down, maybe force a turnover or two. Pat Mahomes, now I worry about him this week because the Giants play that too high. That's their strength of their team. They're really good at that. That's what they do the best. It's played too high, try to take away the big plays. And we know Mahomes has been prone to force the ball in the coverage, has been prone to drop the ball when the pressure rush gets to him, and it's caused some mishaps for the Kansas City offense. But either way, it's hard for me to pick the Giants to beat Kansas City at Kansas City. So I will take the Chiefs to cover the 9 points just because at the end they might tackle another touchdown to backdoor cover it. I think the Chiefs might backdoor cover the 9 point spread. But I'll take the under. I think the Giants will do a decent job fighting the Kansas City offense, who I expect to turn the ball over a couple times. And then I don't think the Giants will be creating any highlights on their end to make the game high scoring affair. So Chiefs to cover, not by much, and the under.
I've got to build up the Giants because I've already got $100 that they're beating Tampa Bay off the bye in a few weeks. So, I mean, I got to build it up. I mean, I got to build them up. I don't think the Chiefs season will be over. I just think this will be the game. I just think this will be the game that puts them on notice that they've got some cracks and will change them. But I do believe the Giants will go in there. I'm going to pick them to win, but really they'll probably just give them a nice scare. Because that Kansas City offense, that's the worst defense in the league, and everybody will move the ball against Kansas City's defense. So Kansas City's 1-3 and out, one bad turnover away from being out of every game because of how bad that defense is. So I think the defense is a couple weeks away because I do believe they're getting better. Steve Spagnuolo will get them up, but I think Steve Spagnuolo will throw the New York Giants a bone. And they'll get a walk-off field goal. I'll take Giants 31, Kansas City 28. The season's not over, but, man, people are going to panic on Tuesday morning if Kansas City doesn't win this game.
Is that over or under your score?
That's the over. That's the over. If Kansas City's playing, take the over unless you think they're going to get mollywopped like they did against Tennessee.
Well, I'm going to take the New York Football Giants to cover this game. I don't think – if you look at the record of Kansas City as more than touchdown favorites, it's not a good one. They haven't been really great at covering spreads this year, so I'll take the Giants and the plus 9.5. And if I'm going to do that, I guess I have to take the over.
Yeah. If Kansas City's defense is playing, there's just some defenses that you just got to – that defense not going to stop nobody most of the time. So, yeah, I mean – I already went over my bold prediction about Cooper Kupp having his career day probably. Give him 250 plus and definitely 2 touchdowns. How you guys feeling?
I'm expecting Mr. 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, not Cooper Kupp, but Jamar Chase to go for another 2 bills and 3 tutties against the Jets, establishing himself as one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL.
I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence having a career day against Seattle. I think it's going to be his best game up to this date, which will secure my Jacksonville pick.
All right. Enjoy the football this week. Enjoy your Halloween. Stay safe out there. All right. Talk to you later, Eric.
See ya.